UKLC is presented by Barclays and Curry's PC World.
Now, I think it's okay to be a little bit confused coming into today's show, because even I'm a little bit confused on what's going on. Orcs fed me false information at yesterday's broadcast about Munster. You said they made playoffs. Even Munster believed they'd made playoffs, and actually they haven't. But there is a lot on the lines.
Unique scenario, yeah.
This game, while it doesn't mean anything to Bulldog, it means a lot to Nvision. If Bulldog win here, what happens to Nvision? What happens to their chances?
So basically, I'll tell it by talking over all the tie teams. So we know at the start of the day, we had Demise, London, M&M, and Nvision at 8 points. For all of those teams, if you win your game, you get it at minimum a tiebreaker. If you lose your game, then you need another team to lose. So if Nvision lose here, and then we see M&M and London win, Nvision are out. If Nvision win here, then even if all the other teams win, they at bare minimum get a tiebreaker. The only exception to this is London, because they win the aggregate head-to-head. If they win, they go straight to first place. So, you know, it's pretty good for them. London just need to win their game, and they are guaranteed first place at this point. But Demise, well, obviously they've won theirs. But M&M and Vision, if they lose their game, they need someone else to lose. If they win, they get bare minimum a tiebreaker to play out. So essentially, Nvision, they can keep things in their hands if they win this. If they lose this game, they are hoping that M&M or London drops theirs. Otherwise, they are in a really rough spot.
And for Bulldog, they really want this win. I think this is the best form we've seen Bulldog in all season. They've been getting so close, but not able to find it. 0-14 is not what they want. They do not want to go 0-14 at the end of the season. They want to find a win. And a win here is such a big upset. So the onus is really on Bulldog to find this win here, but Nvision, they need to stay relevant. They need to get it, and they won their game yesterday, and it was a bloody exciting game. Don't get me wrong, but that game could have gone anywhere at any point, and Nvision need to make sure this game is a lot cleaner, because there were a lot of weaknesses shown in yesterday's game.
Yeah, I think the early game was the biggest issue for me altogether. Like, you know, they still won the game. It was still a winning performance for Nvision, but it was messy. It wasn't a clean win. And you can argue, though, against Munster. Munster was a strong early game, but it still was not how you want a game to go. So, by all means, they want a stronger early game. They want to come out with a bit more control in this one. But Bulldog, I mean, all I'm going to say, we had another team who got to this very point in the UKLC in spring who had not won a single game. For anyone who watched, you'll remember Enclave. If you didn't, Enclave was 0-13. And then the final game of the regular season, they beat Barrage to get the 1-13 score instead of the 0-14. If history is going to repeat itself, Bulldog will take this game and get that one win on the board. And you just know that even though Enclave last split, there was no way they avoided being at the bottom of the league, they still put everything into it. You know, they still put everything into it, and they beat Barrage, who were a team who made playoffs. So there's definitely potential for that to happen. I think Bulldog as a roster are still putting their all into this. They want that win on the table. They want that 1 point. So I don't think we can see a situation where Vision can go into this one sleeping. And obviously it is an uphill battle for Bulldog, but I expect to see them go out all guns blazing.
For me, going into this game, all eyes are on Evan. I think Evan was the real turning force for Nvision in the game yesterday. All of the team fights that they started winning were off the back of him playing just incredibly well. Alex as well, actually. I have to kind of give a shout out Alex. I had my criticisms of him in the set jungle at the early game, but he actually pulled it back and really came in with some clutch flanks, dragging AD carries into the middle of the team. It was him and Alex were the two people that turned the game for me in yesterday's game for Nvision.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think top jungle from Nvision was monstrous in that game. And I hope to see a similar performance here, because this team has looked solid. We just heard Chromax talk about how he sees Nvision as the other major threat to them. I think both of these rosters have ramped up towards the end of the split, and I hope to see them at playoffs and continue in that performance. But you need to beat Bulldog here, which again, you look at the standings, you'll say that's an easy feat, but Bulldog have shifted their roster consistently, and they have looked like more and more of a considerable force, I'll say. And I don't think you can just underestimate them here. So draft's going to be a big factor. I'm going to be looking towards what Nvision want to play in this situation. Often roaming potential is big. Often agency for Evan is big, but we'll have to see.
It's going to be a very big game. But before that, we do have a quick break. We'll be back with champ selecting the game between Bulldog and Nvision. We'll see you in a second. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC. We're getting ready to go into game number 2 between Bulldog and Nvision. Bulldog on the blue side, Nvision on the red. See what's going to get taken away. Going to be the Kazakhs.
Denying that away from Alex, something he can get a lot of pressure onto. LeBlanc denied from Thomas Go, something, again, he can put a lot of work on. To see how this one pans out. Could end up seeing another situation where instead of trading off these power picks as bans, it's more targeted. We saw that against Nvision yesterday where it was more comfort picks. The Ziggs is one of those for Spark. We could end up seeing the Oriana as a third ban against BB Ruffin.
Yeah.
Potentially something along those lines. Olaf as well for Alex is a big one too.
I feel like the Oriana is a pretty important pickup here for BB Muffin. Maybe Bulldog are feeling comfortable with a first picket here, but Zoe taken away. The set's been left open. The Wukong's been left open. The Volibear's been left open. The Ashe is now being banned away. So there's a fair amount actually open for both of these teams. We'll have to see.
I think it depends what direction you want to go in. There's a lot of options in this situation. Ultimately, you banned away a lot of the powerful comfort picks for Nvision, but Nvision have banned away a couple of those strong pickups, so they'll have alternatives to work around in this situation. Ezreal going to be prioritized for misclick, so fair amount of scaling on this champion, a lot of safety for it, but does lack a little bit of that priority in the bot lane. Now Nvision can answer. Set, Volibear, both options that they can look at. Set tends to be preferred here for Evan. Expect that to be top lane, even though it can be flexed. And then the question is going to be, what else will they take? Because, yeah, Syndra's open and available if they want that as an option.
Set Syndra going to be the rotation for Nvision. Over to Bulldog. Nutri picked up the Shyvana yesterday. Had a pretty good game on that. We could potentially see that picked up for Bulldog here.
Personally, I really like the Ezreal Azir combo. I think that's been picked up a lot. I could see you taking that on the third pick at least. I don't think there's too much that you're worried about with the LeBlanc band away. And also, although it can be a flex Syndra, I think you're mostly fine with that. But they're just going to end up going with the Oriana as well. So a little bit less powerful in terms of that long-range, consistent DPS, but a lot of engage potential and a lot of punishment potentially for that Syndra, especially post 6. You look for the Volibear to engage, and then you have to follow up from that Oriana. And if this does end up being that Aphelios, it's, again, threat onto backline, which you're providing with that combo. So that gets locked in. Now, supports haven't been touched, I think is the critical takeaway here. Yes, technically top and jungle are up for grabs, but with Set and Volibear both being flexes between those roles, I expect to see support bans coming out here.
Yeah, the Karma Lulu 2 picks would pair it very well with that Aphelios, making sure he kind of takes off. But Zyko, most likely going to get his target bans taken away. The Relia Yasuo from Nvision. They're ready to deny that. And now Bulldog, what do they want to deny? For me, I feel like Lulu Karma are just the kind of bans you really want to throw out here.
Thresh might be a little bit of a concern as well.
True.
But again, it's dangerous to leave open Karma Aphelios in this situation. Karma Lulu in this situation. So it's a tentative one. They do go for the Thresh to eliminate some safety. But again, Nvision don't need to ban supports here because they can just pick theirs on the next rotation. I do like the Malphite though, because it's obviously something that provides even more backline threat and makes things difficult for both Spark and BB Muffin. Now, it depends what you're concerned about here because both Karma, I would actually leave. It's tricky because if you leave Karma open and they take Lulu, you can pick Karma into it. But if they take Karma, then you're in a little bit of a rough spot. So you could end up seeing a ban going a different direction here, depending on what they're thinking.
We must all. Well, it's going to be
go for the Karma. So
yeah,
could just see the Lulu here.
I feel like the Lulu is the best pick for Nvision, but actually looking for maybe a bit of engage. Something that can kind of pair up with that set. They're going to take the Rakan.
So I think Nash is really good on Rakan. Really strong on that champion. But I'm not a fan of it here. I think you already have the set offering some of that engage tools. I think as well you want something to really solidify your scaling because otherwise you're going to struggle against an Oriana later on. I'd have liked the Lulu in this situation. Or if you're not super comfortable, then take a flex pick and then get something solid later on. Now, interesting they're picking Braum into the Rakan. Because initially, Rakan is like a good counter to Braum because you can never stun the Rakan quick enough before he dashes away. So a little bit confusing here. It does offer a lot of skirmishing power and protection for misclick. But I'm not a huge fan of it in terms of what it offers in the lane, in terms of putting pressure down on a Spark. But Either way, they will take that. And then for Zyko, they're going to take that cannon. So could still be blind, could see this set go into the jungle, but we know it's a Volibear jungle for the side of Bulldog. It does provide, again, we've been talking about it time and time again, backline threat. And that is really important for Bulldog.
I'm really liking Bulldog's kind of team fighting comp they've drafted here. They've got a lot of tools to set up for big wombo combos, and misclick on the Ezreal should be fairly safe to kind of navigate and kite around the edges of these fights. What do Nvision want to round their comp out of? They go for the Vladimir, so it is going to be the set in the jungle. And something else that's going to be a real nuisance to deal with if you're on Bulldog. Once you get that flank down on the Vlad, you get the Hemo Plague off, and got a lot of tools to get a lot of burst out. So as we go later, this could start to be a real nuisance for the side of Bulldog.
Yeah, I mean, it's giving you an extra out in terms of scaling, but ultimately, I'm not super convinced by it. I feel like it's not really on theme with what your composition wants to do. Sure, if you get the big engage, you can follow up, but realistically, Bulldog should be in a position where they're not allowing that to happen. You know, hopefully Thomas Go won't be out of position, but even if misclick is, he has to Arcane Shift to sort of give himself some tools. It does mean, though, if the game goes later, they have an extra avenue. But honestly, I would have preferred to see like a Lulu in the bot lane, and then the top lane, you could have picked your engage tool. I think for me, that would have been better for Nvision, but obviously this is a bit more on their comfort. Ultimately, both teams have strong scaling options. They have strong early contest with regards to the junglers. It's going to be a matter of who can find the gold advantage and lean into that. I will say, kind of lean a little bit towards Nvision when it gets later on, just because of the Vladimir Aphelios, but we'll have to see.
It's going to really be down to how they execute this. This game obviously very important for the team, so maybe comfort is important in these games where, you know, you are looking down the face of being knocked out. There's too many teams tied up at the top. There's a lot you got to play for. And even though it is a team who haven't been able to pick up a single win, the last few weeks with this new roster, Bulldog have been challenging every team they play versus. So Nvision, they've opted in for comfort. They've opted in for what they think they can find the win on. We'll have to see whether or not it's going to be work, because the onus is on them to not give up too much early, because I feel like if Bulldog just like hyperscale out, well, not hyperscale, sorry, snowball the early game, it was some good early play, it just feels like Nvision are going to get squashed.
Yeah, potentially, but I mean, you can argue that on both sides. If True, we see the mid jungle of Beamuff and Alex on Set Syndra pull ahead, it could become extremely dangerous, extremely fast. So I think both teams have tools. It just comes down to execution in this one. There will be areas where one side is favored of the other, but I don't think this is a massive advantage for either side in the draft, which is what you hope to see on the last day of the split. Is now the team massively hindered by draft and allowing themselves to just put their best foot forward for this game.
Both your teams do really need to come in on their best foot for this game, because it is important. I know I keep saying it, but I have to highlight, after the last game, we have 3 more games to go. Bulldog versus Nvision, this current one. Then it's London versus Enclave, and Barrage versus M&M. There are still 4 spots up for grabs. It is so close. Nvision are in that race, and a loss here, it potentially dooms them. It really takes the game out. It takes their chances out of their hands. We've loaded for onto Summoner's Rift for our second game of the day. Bulldog looking for their first win. Nvision looking to stay relevant in the race.
Yeah, so if Nvision win this one, I was actually working out again. I was looking at that big 5-way tie we could have. So because Munster are losing the aggregate head-to-head and get dropped out, it means that Nvision winning this guarantees them playoff. Demise are guaranteed for playoffs. And if M&M or London win, they are guaranteed for playoff. So even though they'll have to tiebreak for where they're going to stand in playoffs potentially, they can get that spot here and now if they win this game. The only team who will not be guaranteed playoffs on 9 points is Munster. So everyone else, if they get to that point, they are safe, and they will bare minimum have a tiebreaker for seeding, but they will be in playoffs no matter what.
If you are a Munster fan, you are cheering on Bulldog, the underdogs of the entire competition, to get their first win. So Misclick setting up for maybe a little something out of the gate. Just looking to catch the wave.
Don't expect a ton of progression between these two lanes. Just Rakan Braum, there isn't a massive amount you can do, but Alex is looking mid.
Yeah, got that level 2. Looking for the face breaker. Flashes in forward. Thomas can take a lot of damage there. He's done up pretty heavily. Good flash by Alex to be able to secure at least some advantage. An advantage for him.
I mean, it's
mid lane.
the thing with Alex being on set is you have Hex Flash, so your flash being on cooldown isn't as big of a hindrance to, for example, an Orianna, who obviously is going to be in trouble if she gets caught out. And also, you just gave a massive HP lead over to BB Muffin. So you really set your lane up for success with a very quick, easy to do level 2 gank. So well played there from Alex overall.
Yeah, Thomas has to burn all of his potions to keep himself relevant. That's really good for BB Muffin. Has got the wave. Currently stuck just in front of this tower. Top lane's a little bit more quiet. We kind of expect it to be quiet here. I say that, and Evan's stunned up and they're taking a trade, but it doesn't really feel like either of these top laners are going to have too much kill pressure over each other. It's just going to be a matter of kind of getting your items and getting to the team fights in the mid to late game.
Yeah, there's a bit more harass from the cannon, and you can push waves a little bit faster, but ultimately, you don't really have enough harass to challenge Vladimir so much. I'm loving this
looking for the
honesty.
play. They got that Hex Flash. They got Nash as well. He's going to flash over the wall, but Thomas actually looking to see if he can spot him out on the other side, and so we're just going to have a crab trade-off. I think the information from the missing of Nash from bot lane meant that Thomas knew something was up.
You could see from him moving up towards Nutri, very aware that they're going for this play. They clearly burnt the flash with the intention to follow up with a gank, and this actually costed Alex a bit. He's a little bit behind in farm here. 2 camps down on Nutri and a level down, so a penalty for going for that play, and ultimately they don't get a massive reward for it. But we talked a bit about how getting this mid-jungle matchup ahead for Nvision could be pretty critical. It's not going to be a massive hindrance if you don't, but you want your Syndra to be in a lead over the Orianna.
Currently the case. Nutri steals away a camp. Steals away 2 camps, actually. While Alex actually only able to get 1. Once again, though, looking to set up on to Thomas. Thomas knows that Alex is on this side of the map. Just heavily leaning towards top side. Leaning miles away from Alex. So Alex will never be able to get there in time with the Hex Flash combo.
And that's what you should always do. Play to the side your jungler is on.
Oh, there's the scout of the week. That's what they needed. Gonna get a little bit of damage off onto Thomas. They have that face breaker. There's the haymaker. There's the first blood. Alex secures the kill. And finally, they were looking for it. It does pay off.
Good stun coming from BB Muffin. And ultimately, it was a situation where Thomas Go was playing topside, was playing back. There's only so much you can do without just walking out the lane and going AFK. So we do see the kill go in. Alex is still 2 camps down compared to Nutri, so he has sacrificed a bit of pressure there. But he got the kill. He got the result he wanted, and BB Muffin 10 CS up is in a really nice spot. And if we look at the items on the first back, Thomas Go's got the tier, no AP, just a bit of extra mana, whereas BB Muffin has that Lost Chapter, has more mana to work with, and on top of that, that extra AP to really make the Syndra's abilities kick. So definitely a position where you can permanently contest a priority now and look to assist your jungler on the map. It's one of those situations where your jungler helps you, you can now help your jungler.
Spark and Ash just heavily shoving in here on this bot lane. Got a big CS lead for themselves, and they're looking to get the plates. Misclick does have teleport, so we'll be able to return to lane and not give up too much.
I mean, this is my concern. Oh, that's cheeky Snuggly.
That was so cheeky.
Dangerous.
He has to burn his flash for that, though.
Not sure if that one was worth the flash. I'm going to go with a strong no. And that means that they can easily pick up the dragon here with Snuggly so chunked out. Ultimately, this was my concern about the Braum pick into the Rakan. Rakan can pretty much go unchecked, can engage whenever he wants. You can't stun fast enough for him to not just dash away. And when you're playing an Aphelios into an Ezreal, it gives you a massive advantage. So I personally wasn't super happy with Nash going the Rakan blind here, but I was even more, I'll say, unimpressed with Snuggly's Braum pickup in response. I think there were a lot of picks you can take into the Rakan. I think Nautilus would have worked. I think Leona can potentially work. I think you can also play an Enchanter and look to outscale in that regard. I strongly think that Braum was not the good pickup. I even think Lux is actually okay in this matchup.
Oh. Evan has to use the Hemo Plague, has the Blood Pool to try and keep himself alive. Flashes out, gets the heal off. Nucci jumps in forward. And Evan's able to get away, but here comes the response from Nvision. They've brought everybody down. BB Muffin looking for the scat of the week. Zyko rubs his socks on the carpet, gets the movement speed. starts to run away. Baby Muffin, though, looking for that all-in. Has the unleashed power, and Baby Muffin gets the assassination off.
Zyko just overstaying there, and it was an aggressive play from Bulldog that ended up backfiring. We see Nash moving around the map, helping to set up these plays and forcing numbers advantages, just giving them a nice lead. So BB Muffin now in a really solid spot in this Syndra.
Really, really solid spot there. I actually thought that they were going for a really early swap for the Rift Herald. I didn't notice the Spark was still bot lane. That's just showing how much Nash is moving around. He's trying to constantly be on the map. The Spark maybe biting off a little bit more than he can chew. Concussive blows are going to come in. He's got the minion wave to work with, dodging out on the True Shot Barrage. The Spark showing off the 200 years there.
Yeah, you can't commit more because he still has ultimate and he has Severum. So he switches to Severum there. You have no Ignite. He would be able to heal a massive amount, and then they just don't have the damage to deal with him. To 100-0, the Aphelios right now. And essentially, I mean, Sparks had a pretty free lane so far on this champion, and he's really comfortable in this spot. I think if it was the Azir Ezreal, I'd be a lot more concerned because in team fights they can just outrange you. But when it's Orianna Ezreal, I'm a little bit less concerned because yes, there's a shockwave threat, but once that's down, you can play pretty aggressive.
Nash comes in, gets the jump. They've got everybody coming up, and Nash already pretty low. Spark throws out the ultimate, snugly ignited and low, but the Stormbringer gets used by Nutri, finds the stun onto Spark, and Spark's way too low. Gonna get taken down as Nutri secures the kill. Spark is dead.
Yeah, in that situation, going that aggressive when you don't know enemy junglers, you know your junglers on the other side of the map, just a mistake. No other way of putting it. But a good punish from Nutri there, and you need a little bit of momentum on your bot side because they are struggling to apply any pressure. But it does mean you forfeit this Herald, which is a bit of a rough one.
Question is what they're going to gain with that. There's no dragon up, so they get a kill onto one of the bot lane. I think Nash actually held the wave to make sure that Spark doesn't lose too much out here. Not quite. It's going to crash, unfortunately. But they have the Rift Herald in the pocket of Alex, and Alex definitely showing off a better early than he was last game. I have to hold that as they use the Showstopper out with a Haymaker. A lot of damage coming onto Alex, but he is already getting taken down. Snugly secures the kill with the Glacial Fissure. And Bulldog find themselves a nice pick in the mid lane.
Yeah, very nice roam from Snugly there to help cement that. And ultimately, it was a very early Haymaker from Alex. His grit wasn't even fully stacked up, so just was never really going to find a kill there. Just a bit ambitious.
It's going to be both the ultis traded in the top lane. Evan does have the blood puddle to hide under while he waits for the healing to come in. Zyko goes low, but Zyko does get the stun back out. A little hairy for both of those top laners. Just kind of limit testing at the moment, seeing how much they're capable of.
I think the thing you got to bear in mind, though, is Zyko had Ignite there. Like, if it's that close with Ignite, I think it's showing how powerful this Vladimir is starting to be. He's already got 20% CDR from his Kindle Gem and his Fiendish Codex. He's going to have 10% more CDR kicking in when he hits level 10 from his Transcendence. He's just hit level 9, so his Transfusion, his Q's maxed. Vladimir has gone unchecked, and he's going to be extremely powerful.
Worrying stuff for Bulldog. Nutri's going to make an appearance in the bot lane, looking to try and see if they can just shove in and allow Misclick and Snugly a reset.
Just look at this, the health situation, this top lane. It's like, oh, you want to all in me? I wonder who's going to come out ahead after that. But yeah, I mean, Evan's in a great spot. Spark's in a comfortable spot.
And
there is some nice mid-game spikes, but it's a little bit tough.
But look at the sum of the spells top lane. Evan has teleport. Zyko doesn't. Dragon spawning up in 7 seconds time. If there's going to be a fight over there, you've got Rift Herald, you've got teleport advantage. Feels like everything's kind of Nvision's camp to be able to take this Cloud Drake, and that will put them 2 on the board. 2 off Soul, which is going to be an Ocean or Infernal again. 2 very impactful Drakes.
Yeah, and actually, if you look at Zyko on the map, he was walking top lane. Evan was walking straight here. He's like, let's go fight this. Even though he has TP, I'm not sure what Zyko was doing, but the dragon's just already gone.
Yep. Nvision don't really have to burn anything. They're quite happy. They want to scale, but here comes the fight. Spark throws out the ultimate, trying to catch out on the members. The quickness gets used into a two-man knock-up. Shockwave lands onto the backline by Thomas. And Evan's going to take out Nutri. Snuggly very low HP, and Spark just free-firing away. The concussive blows are stacking up, and Zyko throws down the slicing Maelstrom, able to get himself a double kill, making it a triple kill as Nash able to shield up and survive, dodging away on all of the Qs. BB Muffin's coming down. It's a triple kill for Zyko. And Nvision end out losing out on the team fight.
Zyko there late, but he makes a massive impact. Ultimately, the team were pretty split there, and there was a rough decision. It was like some of the members were saying we should get out. You could see Alex waiting towards that blast cone and wanting to leave, but Spark was committed to the fight, and it ended up not being in their favor. So they get the dragon, but they hand over a massive amount of gold to the side of Bulldog.
Doesn't mean Bulldog are up in gold for the moment, but Ocean Drake spawning up, and Ocean Drake on a Vladimir is terrifying. He's hard enough to kill when you get to late game as is. Made it even harder. Muffin does spot out Snuggly, flashes forward, just unleashes power,
nice
forces out the
stopwatch.
stopwatch. Alex comes in, they get the scan of the week off. Haymaker going to be used as they summon out the Herald as well. And Vision trying to get that kill off. Not actually able to get it, but they will get the charge down. And Miskick and Snuggly have to run away. They can't stay. It's too close. Quickness is almost up on Nash as well. So just a few free plates picked up from Nvision in the bot side.
Yeah, a little bit of messy play there, in all honesty, but some clean performances from Bulldog bot lane. We saw Snuggly with the stopwatch baiting out BB Muffin's flash, and then Misclick Arcane shifting over the Haymaker from Alex. It could have been very dire if things had gone a little bit differently, but they managed to outplay in that regard.
Oh, 13 minutes on the clock. The Infinity Edge getting close from Spark. Evan doing what Vladimir does best as far as items go, just buy lots of component items, and eventually they all become one thing. Or multiple things, actually.
I think the big thing to look at now is the dragon that is spawning in 2.5 minutes. If Nvision get that, that's their third. That's where things start to become really precarious, because from then on, every single elemental Drake you have to contest and win for Bulldog. So I expect to see that to be the point where we have a big fight. Now, it's been a pretty fast pace for these dragons, and as a result, not many people have completed items. You know, Misclick hasn't got that Triforce or even Gauntlet that he's working towards. Spark still doesn't have an Infinity Edge. Yes, we have the likes of Illusions on BB Muffin, but... Oh, Thomas go. He's Thomas gone.
Assassinated. Thomas gone.
Yeah, I mean, no Seraphs available. Level 11 on the Syndra is a big thing to note, because second point in the ultimate means it does a ton. And yeah, this is the power Syndra. It's that mid-game spike where you start getting points in your abilities. At level 9, your Dark Spear maxes out, so it's just bonus damage. Level 11, you max out your ultimate. Sorry, you don't max out your ultimate, you get a second pointness and more damage. And then level 13, you max out a second ability.
That was not a race for Nvision win there. First Turret Blood does get picked up.
Yeah, not even
for
close.
Bulldog. That was a little slow to kind of respond towards the bot lane shove, but a great read from Bulldog just to go, we can take bot here and get some gold.
Yeah, and then BB Muffin walked down, but so didn't finish this turret off. So it's not even like they traded towers. BB Muffin was like, oh, they're taking our tower, I'll move. Oh, wait, but now I don't get mid tower. And we lose anyway. So, you know, a little bit rough. Minute 13 on that dragon. And vision control is in favor of Nvision on that side of the map. Right now, they are fishing for Thomas Go.
They're able to crack open this mid lane turret. It's big. Shockwave does land onto BB Muffin. In comes the quickness. The Stormbringer gets used. They're stunned onto BB Muffin as he is just taken down. Thomas finds his revenge. And Bulldog will just be able to turn this into a Rift Herald.
Yeah, bit of an overstep. And actually, Nash missing, completely whiffing the grand entrance there. Didn't use the quickness initially as well. So it ended up not really doing anything for BB Muffin. A little bit of a misplay. And this means Rift Herald secured for Bulldog. And they're going to be able to use that to try and get some pressure on that dragon. You can see Thomas Go going for the reset. Dragon in 25 seconds. So BB Muffin will be up and has TP. But now you have to contest the fact that Bulldog can throw down that Rift Herald.
Spark gets off the base, finishes up the Infinity Edge, and the fight is going to be on for this third dragon. If Bulldog lose this, Ocean Soul is always a threat, and it'll be an early one as well. Riftel's going to get summoned, and Bulldog just looking to try and brute force their way onto the mid lane turret. They are able to take it down. Bibi Muffin will take out the Rift Herald, but they got teleports on both of the top laners. I expect to see some action over this dragon. Nvision do have the vision control to work with for the moment.
I think he must have thought he still had Hex Flash. That's
yeah,
my
I'm
only
assuming that's what
explanation.
happened there.
I was a little bit speechless, but I'm assuming he thought he had Hex Flash still. But that's
Oh,
a bit of a whip. And now
teleport's
great
coming in.
flank.
They're looking for
Oh,
the
no,
fight.
goodbye.
The teleport's coming in from the Vladimir on the backline. So close just gets
Beautiful
suplexed out of the fight. Bibi Muffin gets the scan of the wing on a massive shockwave. Comes in from Thomas Go. Evan onto the backline, trying to deal the damage, trying to sustain for the moment. Alex throwing out the damage to the Moonlight. Visual comes in from Spark. Spark's still alive for the moment. The quickness is going to get used. And Nvision, low health bars, looking to mop up. And Misclick's chasing Spark down. Can't quite find the kills. And the trades are even so far. But the health bars are just low on everyone's front. Hex Flash gets shadowed up. That's why you go for the flash, Alex. Jumping in. And the mop-up is coming through for Nvision. They find their members, and Bulldog are forced out.
Beautiful team fighting there from Nvision. Honestly, thought it was over as soon as Zyko got that flank. But a great scatter of the week from Bibi Muffin. And then Alex with the ultimate to keep the cannon away. Essentially is the only reason Nvision are still standing. Yes, the health bars are low, but they have 4 members alive. And they're able to pick up that third dragon. Disastrous for Bulldog there.
That was so well executed from Nvision. One away from the soul. That's coming up in 5 minutes' time. And Bulldog, that was not what they needed. Evan was already pretty hard to kill in that fight. If he has soul, he is going to be monstrous to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, it's super beneficial for everyone in Vision, but particularly, you know, Vladimir and the set with big health bars. It can be extremely problematic to cut through them. Ocean Soul just is really powerful.
Yep. Still not finished an item. Still just sitting on lots of components. Got that FOS. So building towards the Spellbinder as the first item for the Vladimir.
Yeah. If anyone are wondering, if you don't play too much Vladimir, the priority is picking up the cooldown reduction. With the Fiendish Codex and the Kindle Gem, Vladimir is heavily gated by his cooldowns because his transfusion is Q, quite a long cooldown, but every time you use it, you're getting a ton of healing, you're getting a ton of damage, and then every time you've used it twice in a row, essentially, you get the empowered one that does a ton of damage. So that's your early priority for trading power in the lane, and then obviously even in team fights, it's extremely valuable. And then you're just looking to ramp up as much AP as possible. Movement speed is also big, which is why Spellbinder comes in. But essentially, more AP means more HP, and obviously that beautiful burst damage you love seeing from Vladimir's.
Well, look at the setup onto Alex here. Alex just going to Hex Flash over the wall, but the concussive blows are on. He has the Haymaker shield to keep himself alive for the moment. Alex getting a little bit caught out as Nutri launches in. That's a massive ultimate coming out from Zyko into the shockwave as Nutri gets the kill. Bulldog just finding their picks.
Yeah, Alex just caught out of position, and that's the difference when you don't have big bursts from Bibi Muffin. Remember, now level 13 has Scatter the Weak and Dark Sphere max, so has that extra width on the Scatter and that extra damage on the Dark Sphere. So really powerful for Cinder right now, and 5-1-2, you can see that damage. But ultimately, Alex out of position gets caught out, and once you lose the interruption from the set, your backline is so much more vulnerable.
They were able to get away, and Nvision do pick up this mid lane tier 1. There was some kind of fire back as the top lane fell for Bulldog. Seems very close. 2K separating them at the moment, but the main thing is the dragons. We're getting closer and closer towards that Ocean Soul. Deathcap almost finished up for Bibi Muffin. Spark building towards the Hurricane, and won't have it, I believe, by the time we get to the Ocean Soul, but we'll at least have that Zeal, so bit that 50% crit chance.
%50 of the time, they'll crit all the time.
Why does he do a barrel roll when he changes weapon? What is that about?
I don't know.
He does a spin on that one, but then look at this one. Barrel roll. All I'm saying is that seems like a very inefficient way to pull a gun out.
I feel like a lot of champions are very inefficient.
I hate playing with Syndra so much.
In fairness,
needs
Muffin
the
is
death
close
cap.
to a Rabadon's. Can we actually check gold? I want to see how far away. Yeah,
Oh,
so,
okay.
you know, might have been agreed upon. By the way, that was pretty funny.
I don't know. It looked
Everyone's
like Spark was
experienced
ready
on
to go
solo
for
queue.
that auto attack.
Everyone's experienced on solo queue. You just know.
When the jungler says, no, you can get the next blue buff, and Syndra says, no, I'm having this one.
Wait, blue's up. Cinder should just grab that. Oh, no. Don't get shockwave, BB Muffin. Wait, does BB Muffin have enough gold for Rabadon's now? He cleared like one wing.
You can sell the Dorans. Oh, Lord, they don't
True.
want to let him buy it. This is really good interrupting the bases for BB Muffin because it's now allowed Bulldog to get complete vision control, or at least start to get some vision control back. I say complete. It's very, very heavily favored towards Nvision, but they can slowly start to clear out this vision. Spark waiting in the wings as Nash actually looks to jump in onto Snuggly.
I would have expected BB Muffin to TP in to instantly start applying pressure, but does get there a little bit later. Syndra's mega strong now. They're looking for the engage.
I think the
Gets
white
chunked
was
out,
used there.
though.
Bulldog do have control of the area. BB Muffin now finished up that death cap, so the burst is going to be real, and Bulldog are going to start up this dragon. And Vision want to get in time, but it's already too slow. They're not going to be able to pick it up. Bulldog get the ocean. That's a big denial as Nutri jumps in forward at this point, kind of feeling it. Gets pulled out by the gravity, and everyone gets slanted by Alex. That's the wombo combo. Spark throws out the Moonlight Vigil. It's jumping in for Evan. They get a shockwave off onto Spark. Spark needs to keep kept alive for the moment. Is able to do so as Zyko throws down the ultimate, answering back out. But Nvision keeping this fight going. It's a double kill picked up for Spark. The True Shot Barrage is getting dodged away. And Nvision are the ones to take away the victors from the fight.
Yeah, honestly, just a big misplay from Nutri there. I mean, you're playing Volibear. Your ultimate gives you even more HP, and you opt to dive in when there's a set. So set grabs you, dumps you in a team, and does a ton of AoE damage based on your max HP. Not a great plan. And now with BB Muffin TPing back in, they're looking to take this Baron.
Yeah, Zyko's looking to make their way over. Does have that flash not available, but Misclick's just getting jumped on. It was the old bait and switch. Shut down for Spark.
They're committing to this.
Nutri doesn't have ultimate.
But Thomas Go does. And I think that's enough to scare them away. Yeah, honestly, I was a bit like, really? You going for this one? But they opt not to. Now, losing the dragon was actually the big thing, big takeaway there. Big from Bulldog to deny that one. Ultimately, yes, it was vision control from Vision, but they gave up a lot of ground.
Yeah.
BB Muffin's recall got stalled so many times, and then when he finally did recall, he didn't opt to teleport back in. And it just gave up so much space. It meant that Bulldog could start up the dragon, and Nvision would just take too long to get there. So a nice play from Bulldog for that setup and to punish BB Muffin's reset. But ultimately, it was a bit sloppy from the side of Nvision, and they could have had Ocean Stall at this point, and the game would be pretty heavily in their favor.
Spark now got the Hurricane, so building towards that Death Dance as the next item. We're approaching 200 years. Misclick got the fully stacked Mirror Mana and Triforce, BB Muffin, Death Cap Ludens, Fiendish Codex. There is a lot of damage starting to get here onto Nvision. This is what you were talking about at the beginning of the game is, if it does go late, you do favor Spark. The onus really was on Bulldog to kind of swing themselves ahead. Nvision, they were behind for a large part of this game, but they have been able to pull it back in recent times. It's only 300 gold between the two teams, but if you're Nvision, you're pretty happy with that.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
A little bit of ARAM coming out here. Team's just grouping around mid and pushing. Did see that a tower went down in the bot lane in favor of Nvision. Now we just see Zyko and Evan catching the side waves. And both teams not really keen to fight at the moment because neither of them really going to start off that Baron. They are essentially just waiting for the next dragon to spawn up.
Get a little bit more gold into the carries, and that's just fine for Nvision. They want to get some more scaling on them. They want to get some more items in the inventories, levels on the carries. So for this next dragon spawn in a minute 30, they will be able to run away with it. At the moment, neither team has started to set up vision around that area. They've got a little bit of time, but I feel like we need to start seeing the teams get ready to go contest vision soon.
Something I want to note is that Beam Muffin is now level 16. 3 points in the ultimate. That is a lot of damage. It also increases the range of the ultimate. With Syndra's passive, whenever you max an ability, you get a benefit. So Dark Sphere is bonus damage. The W, which I forget the name of, is bonus true damage.
Force of Will.
Force of Will. Scatter the Weak, the E, the knockaway is extended width. And the ultimate is extended range, so it makes it even more threatening. And obviously, you get the benefit of maxing ability in and of itself.
Oh, Zyko's looking to come in, has the Slicing Maelstrom that just instantly launch in onto the Syndra. Sparks left alone. Nobody was there to protect the carries. And Evan's going to have to do some serious mop-up. They find himself a double kill. Hemoplate's being thrown out by Evan, but already way too low. Concussive blows will stun him up. And Nvision just got caught sleeping. Bulldog. Maybe I should just take an inhibitor here. Actually,
I didn't think
they have to wait to close the game. Actually, they have the tankiness. They could end the game.
Yeah, this is going to be the win for Bulldog. This is it.
Sparks up in 16 seconds, 15 seconds. The inhibitor's going to go down. They have the minion wave for the moment. Nutri's going to tank this up for the moment as they're going to slowly chip away. Spark is alive in a few seconds' time, and the game is saved as just about Misclick's able to shift away.
Wait, now Nvision can rush straight for the Ocean Dragon. Low health bars on Bulldog means it's really precarious. This might be an oversight from Bulldog.
BB setting up to see if they can find themselves a cheeky pick onto maybe Nutri. Get the Scatter the Weak. The jungle is down.
That should be Ocean Soul.
Finally answer back out there.
Okay, so I was wrong. A little bit too slow to finish off the game. Spawn timers come in. Bulldog overcommit. And they end up losing out on the Ocean Soul. Disaster. Considering how good that play was. Considering they got the inhibitor and it looked so good. The overstep was what cost them.
Very, very... But that was a lot of mistakes. First of all, Spark and BB Muffin kind of playing in the face of all of Bulldog, where their team weren't with them because they were setting up for the Soul. Incredibly greedy from them.
Yep.
And then Bulldog overstaying in the lane. They should have just taken the inhibitor and backed away when they realized they weren't taking the objectives quick enough. But they overstay, and then Nutri tries to contest the Ocean Soul and gets picked up for it. Now Ocean Soul's onto Nvision, and this means they have an incredibly healthy Baron. And with how much gold and kind of item Spark's got, he does this fairly quickly now. True Shot will spot them out, but Nvision looking to go for this. Bulldog looking for the fight, but this time Nvision have all of their members about and the Ocean Soul in their pockets. Teleport's getting used, and that is going to be Zyko looking to join into the team. Shockwave's available, the Wombo's there, and Nvision not feeling it.
Yeah, that's enough to force them to disengage. Now, the response here from Bulldog is going to be pushing mid with these super minions, and then they can rotate over to Baron. So you'll see that if you look at Nvision, they're now resetting to catch the mid wave. Bulldog can now beeline towards the Baron. They can either pick up stragglers, or they can look straight away to take the objective. And trying to find Nash, they won't find him, but they now have complete control of this objective, and we'll just start it up. So Nvision have to move all the way back through the jungle to get to this one again. But they do have a control ward there. They do have vision.
Yeah, they know what's going on, and they're making their way over. Baron already half HP for the moment. Alex does have that flash available. Has to make sure this ultimate onto Zyko is big. Alex already getting chunked out for the moment. Jumps in with the suplex, slams the team in. Instantly taken out as the Moonlight Vigil's there. Zyko has the ultimate, looking to try and find Spark onto the backline. And Nvision are low HP, but Evan's trying to find the damage out. Spark has to flash away as Misclick's starting to mop up. Evan jumps in, they get the shields off. The True Shot barrage is on. Zyko goes golden. Spark has the healing to work with. They find a double kill on to Evan as he's looking to mop up the team fight. This game is so close. Nvision make their way out, but the teleport's coming in. The supers are onto the base. Nvision need to run back, but Nucci won't let them.
I mean, they're looking for the kills here. Thomas Go has flash.
Thomas doesn't have Shockwave, though. But already this tower, half HP.
We could have seen a TP into the base, though, from Thomas Go. He could have just TP'd and looked to end. Maybe a little bit lacking confidence. Maybe the proximity of Nvision to being able to get onto them was a bit of concern, but ultimately goes for a more defensive TP, and they're unable to find anything.
Okay, Everybody takes a quick breather, takes a little reset. Spark doesn't have flash. That's key. Next time they do go for a scrap, Zyko will have the flash available. I don't know if Spark's going to be able to survive it again. Has finally picked up that Death Dance. So maybe. But Alex just really greedy, kind of jumping in and leaving Zyko just the freest ult onto the backline possible there.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately at this point, the set's getting kind of shredded. Really needs a couple more items. Needs some more magic resist in particular as well, I feel. Especially since the only major AD threat is misclick. Bulldog.
No, he's right.
Offering a lot of pressure here, and they do have control of the Baron area, but ultimately there's a control ward on the Baron, so Nvision obviously have eyes on it consistently. And they're happy just farming up in the situation. Mid inhibitor down means they're getting waves shoved into them. You can now see the Spark is a level up on the bot lane matchup. BB Muffin's still a level up mid lane, even though it's been 16 for a while, but Evan now a level up on Zyko as well. Thomasco did just actually, as I'm saying this, Thomasco and Misclick caught up in levels, so a bit closer than it could have been before. We did see BB Muffin the 2-level lead previously, but Syndra been struggling a little bit recently.
Inhib's going to spawn, so that backdoor from the minions isn't available. There is a ward in the base that they can teleport to. Alex now just going to get caught out by Nutri. Throws out the showstopper. Haymaker shield is on into the Moonlight Vigil. Nash comes in with the quickness as Nutri jumps onto Spark on the backline as Nutri just cuts through. Alex able to survive for the moment. Evan trying to survive, taken down by a shutdown for Thomas. This time, Alex survives, but Thomas is sacrificed for the team. Nvision maybe feeling a little bit more comfortable to step up. Slicing Maelstrom has been used by Zyko.
Critical thing as well is that they have the healing from the Ocean Soul and they have their jungler up, so they can start this Baron. Thing to watch right now is Thomas Go has Shockwave. That is what I'm looking at in this fight. Trapped in the Baron, but this could be super dangerous.
Zyko doesn't have that Slicing Maelstrom available quite yet, so it is really on Thomas Go to find a big one. Alex comes in, Face Breaker breaks out into the Haymaker, Snuggly's on HP. Already they've been able to find the shutdown. Zyko and Misclick, the only two standing, and they're just going to have to back off.
Beautiful engage with the Hex Flash there from Alex. Found Thomas Go, the major threat there with a Shockwave. And between him, BB Muffin, and Nash, they managed to shut down the Orianna. They're going to get the Baron here. They're going to be able to reset and look for the Elder Dragon as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty short timer until that Elder comes up, though. And Bulldog have been able to send two members over to try and get control of the area. Steal away a few camps as well. This game is very, very close.
Thomas Go's still down with no TP, so it's a 4v5 on the map right now in favor of Nvision. They've ignored the minions in the mid lane. They just don't care.
Evan, up. True shot. Gonna clip onto a couple of members. Nvision just barreling in. They're just gonna go for it. They got Baron. They're feeling comfortable. Teleport is available to Zyko if they want to go for the flank.
Or the end.
It looks like they're just gonna give this up. That's what I meant. The end.
But no, they're just going to sacrifice it. Zyko resets. They've lost both these big neutrals, the Baron and the Elder. Considering Bulldog won that fight and were looking like they potentially could have taken the game, now in a disastrous position, even in gold, but they're down the Ocean Soul. They're down the Baron and they're down the Elder Dragon buff. One of the most powerful, and probably the most powerful of the all, although it is temporary compared to the Ocean Soul. And it means that Nvision, they can just push up and go aggressive here. They are not scared of Bulldog at all.
Spark building towards that Phantom Dancer as well. Gonna get even harder to cut down. Zyko slowly but surely starting to struggle to deal with Spark. With the power of the Ocean Soul and the survivability in the item set that Philios is able to buy. Makes it so hard to deal with them. This will be the end of the turret. 35 minutes on the clock. And Nvision are looking to crack open Bulldog's base. Zyko has got a flanking opportunity available to them, but there is a ward that will spot them out if they try to go the long way around. Nash waiting in the wings with a quickness, ready to fire if action is going to break out. As Nvision take out the mid lane inhibitor. It looks like they're just going to back off for now. The Elder Drake is too scary for Bulldog, though.
Yeah, Bulldog are happy to give up the mid inhib there. You can't really do anything about it. If you look at the sideways, they're actually in a good position for Bulldog. Completely pushed deep. So there's nothing Nvision can do as a response, and that just buys time. You're happy to sacrifice that mid inhib. doesn't really make much of a difference. It just actually gives you extra farm at this point. And you can't fight Nvision right now. Baron obviously gives the minion power, but also some extra stats. But it's the Elder, the Burn, and the Execute that are so significant. Smart response here, though, coming out from Bulldog, just to push mid as Nvision pushed his bot lane up. And it forces people to reset from the side of Nvision.
2 members to defend, BB Muffin and Evan. Pretty scary members to go in defense, though. Actually, they quickly pull that one off. As remember, the Elder is in the pocket of Nvision, so it makes it even harder. Turret's going to go
buy
down.
more time. It's really... Bulldog played this really well to buy time. Yes, they've lost objectives, but it could have been so bad to lose both of these neutral buffs. It can be game over in some situations, so they've mitigated it quite effectively. And we see the Baron timed out. Elder Dragon won't be much longer, and then Bulldog are once again in a bit more of a comfortable position to actually take these fights.
Well, the supers are pushing in. It looks like Nvision are finally going to crack this tier 1 in the top lane. No
That's
Baron.
it. That was the big objective they were hunting for all game. But it's just clearing up the standing gold around the map. It's not super significant at this point. But what it does is it means that when you next get some big objectives, you can have an easier time cracking the base, potentially ending the game. Has given about 3,000 gold lead over to Nvision, but at this point in the game, that just isn't that significant.
The inhib almost being sieged up by Zyko. Zyko able to do a little bit of that, but not really going to get too much more. 4v4
Elder
currently at the tower.
Down.
Elder and Baron is down, so
Yeah.
maybe feeling themselves a little bit more. Because the Alex has actually gone in for the stone plate, realizing that every time they ult into the team, they just get cut through so quickly. That with the Ocean means Alex is going to be nigh unkillable these next few times they do that.
Yeah, it gives some MR, which I think is important because he was lacking that. I'd actually like to see a Spirit Visage left next if the game goes on that long, but probably won't. Either way, he's going to have to do his best job to stay as tanky as possible on the front line. And ultimately, there's not a huge burden for you to threaten the enemy backline. It's mostly about protecting your own. So if you see Nutri or Zyko charging forwards, ulting them away, obviously the high HP targets, so you get the massive smash down based on their max HP.
Oh, teamfight's breaking out. Teleports are on. Nash looks to jump back as Nutri's health bar is just evaporating. Zyko's teleport was too slow and unable to get there to save the day with a big ulti combo, but maybe Zyko and Thomas could find that miracle slicing shockwave.
Sieging up. It's 4v5 for another 20 seconds. Bulldog just doing their best to defend, and they will be able to clear the wave out. The Baron spawning in 20. I think Nvision could just back off towards it and start it, because Nutri's going to be so late.
Nutri's up. Elder up in 40 seconds. It feels like this is the moment for Bulldog to pull that trigger. Looks like they're just going to concede over at the Baron, and they may just try and get themselves set up for the Elder Dragon. And Zyko making their way over to take out the Rift Herald and get some vision control. That's Baron. And the base is coming in for Nvision. They're going to spend the gold they just got from taking all of those turrets, all of those neutral objectives, and get closer to closing out the game with Bulldog now left scratching. Desperately trying to find a way to pull this game back. As Spark misses out the Moonlight Vigil, that'll be down for the Elder Dragon.
Got a whiff there, actually. But ultimately, still going to have your attack damage, which is the key thing. Level 18 now for the carries on the side of Nvision, and they're looking for the fight.
Here goes Nutri. Watch Thomas. Watch Zyko. Alex throws out the shield from the Haymaker as Evan continues to chase. In comes the quickness. The charm is on. Zyko slices in with the slicing Maelstrom. Thomas goes zoned away though, so can't find a shockwave as Evan gets himself a shutdown. And Nvision just mop up the team fight beautifully. Only Thomas standing. And Nvision should just look to close out with Baron now.
gold is in favor of Nvision. The soul is, and they're scaling too. They just brute force that fight, and Bulldog do not have an answer. Unfortunately for the side of Bulldog, it is going to be the 0-14 split, but Nvision locked themselves into playoffs with that win.
You can do it, Thomas, I believe. Nexus goes down, 41 minutes on the clock. And Nvision keep their playoff dreams alive. That is Bulldog. There we go. We put the Bulldog logo up. But yeah, that was actually Nvision who got that win. And that does mean that they remain relevant in the standings, remain relevant in the playoff race. And for Munster, that's a scary win. That is a sign that now two teams that you didn't want to get wins today have got
Halfway
wins.
there.
And this is close. So London have to win their next game and M&M have to win their next game. And then the Munster are out.
Yeah, there's no tiebreaker. So if that happens, we'll have 4 teams who are instantly put into playoffs. One for London, they're straight to the top because they have the aggregate head-to-head. For everyone else, they'll have to play tiebreakers. And then Munster will get kicked out at the bottom. From 1st to 5th in a day would be crazy. But it has potential to happen, and we are halfway there. So as much as this is huge for Nvision, got to praise them for that win that locks them into playoffs. They were playing against a team who was 0-13. It was a massive fight from Bulldog, and honestly, I felt like they could have had that one, but it just wasn't quite enough. And again, the knock-on effect for the rest of the league means Munster are holding on with bated breath.
It's been so tight for the entire season, and this is where it really boils down to. We do see some life from Bulldog. I say this every time we've seen them for like probably the last 3 weeks. We do see some life, but something isn't there. There's just something that's falling short, and hopefully when they get to the relegation series, they'll figure out what is going wrong and what they need to work on, so that they can, obviously destroy the Nexus is probably the best advice I can give.
Kill the Nexus, win the game. I'm full of good ideas.
But all seriousness, I hope the Bulldog can figure out, what has been going wrong for them. And remember, this is a very different roster for Bulldog than what we had at the beginning of the season. So there's a bit of teething issues on this front, where all of the other teams have had an entire season together for the most part. Maybe a few changes here and there, but a lot of these teams have kind of had a lot more time together to kind of get to know their play styles and what their core game plan is. So for Bulldog, it's really on them, unfortunately, to be able to find it out. And it must be heartbreaking to go 0-14, but chin up, Bulldog. But for Nvision, that was the win they needed. They needed that win.
The chins are already up.
To keep themselves relevant. It's so close.
Yeah, I mean, it was not the decisive game we wanted for them. And with the performance from Demise earlier, it does have some question marks leading into the playoffs. But you got there. That's a critical thing. Potentially going to have to play tiebreakers to decide where your seeding spot is. But the end result is you are there. You've been playing better throughout the split. You've been looking more on point. Now you can look towards playoffs and get ready for that. So yeah, I think it's pretty huge for a roster that ultimately started the split a little bit rough, a little bit difficult, and a lot of rookie players on the roster who I'm keen to see to keep developing.
Yeah, it's gonna be for Nvision, they got their miracle upset yesterday, which was huge for them to stay relevant. And actually, after today, that win is what they needed to keep actually in the standings and in the play. This is gonna be these next 2 games are gonna be so important. My brain is already fried, and we're 2 games in. We've got so much more to go. We are gonna cut to a quick break, guys, and when we're back, we actually have Spark standing by for an interview. So we will see you in a second. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the UKLC. We actually have Spark standing by for an interview, fresh off that win. Spark, how you doing, mate? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Everything's good. I'm doing great. Yeah.
How are you feeling? So, 2 wins back to back this week. One was a pretty big upset. That game was, I'd say, pretty tight. There was a moment where we
Yeah.
thought they were going to close that game out and potentially knock you out of the playoffs running. With this win, you've kept yourself going. How are you feeling right now? What's the mood in the team?
I mean, yeah, in that game it was a bit tense. There was like a point where they went for the end, I think, and like if they just like stopped that and they could have got a free Baron, it would have been really bad for us. But we got the soul off that and managed to just win it. But
It
yeah,
was 2 games in a row, that was right. You got almost backdoored yesterday.
Yeah.
And that was incredibly close. And then this one, you're giving your poor coach a heart attack every time you play at the moment.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I mean, if you're going to continue, but I was going to say,
Oh, sure.
if you're looking towards playoffs, obviously it's been a little bit shaky this last week. What steps do you feel like you as a team need to make if you want to come out on top there?
I think our team fighting is like really good, probably the best in the league. And I think our mid game is decent, but like I think if we work on like the first 15 minutes of the games, like herald swaps and things like this, I think we'll be like for sure the best team and really strong in playoffs.
So I actually asked this in the last game, and after the last game, sorry, and I actually want to get your opinion on it as well. We have 4 slots open at the moment for playoffs. It's so tight. It's so up in the air.
Not anymore.
Actually,
Nvision are locked
Demise
into
locked
playoffs.
is 3 slots now, right?
Nvision are locked into playoffs as well.
Oh, Nvision are locked in.
I like
Okay, so
that.
who do you
Yeah.
think are going to be the other 2 teams to make it to playoffs?
Other 2 or other 3?
Other 2, because you guys and Demise are now locked into playoffs.
Okay, cool.
Your position in the playoffs is still undecided, but you guys are
Mhm.
there. So congratulations on that, by the way. But who do you think are going to be the other 2 teams?
There's still that chance of like Munster getting that big tiebreaker and them losing out, right? Is that
Yes,
still a thing?
Munster can still be knocked out, but you and Demise, no matter what, will not get knocked out because even if there's a 5-way tie, Munster get kicked out and you're in the top 4.
Okay. I mean, I think if that doesn't happen, it's most likely that London and Munster will be the 2 other teams. I think they're looking stronger than M&M and Enclave.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's fair enough. Well, Spark, congratulations on your win and congratulations making it to playoffs. Good luck with all the tiebreakers and stuff like that to see where you guys place. And thank you for joining us for an interview. We'll speak to you later.
Yep. Thanks.
Awesome, guys. We're going to be getting ready to go into game number 3. This is between London and Enclave. A very important game once again. I'm going to stop saying games are important because every game is
all
important. This really does. This is the nails are starting to get hammered into Munster's coffin. And if London can find this win, that is the 3rd nail in. And it is starting to look very, 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 very scary for them. We will see you with game number 3 after this break.